And if we do that enough, we get completely turned around. So we have to learn to make decisions in our lives and to stand in those decisions. That's why I had to give up the hokey pokey. I had to start making some decisions in my world and to be willing to stand in them. Raymond Charles Barker said in The Power of Decision, he said, Columbus decided to cross the ocean. The American colonies decided to become a free nation. The Wright brothers decided to create a flying machine. Every improvement in our world has been accomplished by a decisive mind. There's no hokey pokey in that, is it? Okay, that's what we have to recognize. And he goes on to say, in my years of counseling, I have found that only those who really want what they want enough to decide that they shall have it will get what they want. See, are we willing to stand in it long enough to make the decision and stand in that decision? The others mutter at me that great statement, with God, all things are possible. They expect me to agree, which I do. But their concept of this statement is that it will be done unto them without any effort on their part. They expect their half-thinking to be rewarded by a whole result. This is a spiritual and mental impossibility. Those who have actually decided to have what they want do not expect special favors from the universe. They are ready and willing to think what they want long enough to get what they want. They are not afraid of the good. They are not afraid of the good and solid mental work of believing. Now that is good. That is some good stuff to hear. I mean, because Raymond Charles Barker always lays it out for us, doesn't he? Do you believe it enough to stand in the decision? Indecision is half thinking. And you can't get a whole result from half thinking, he's saying. Look at your life. Look at what's going on in your world. Am I half thinking, or am I standing in my decision? See, I stayed in that hokey pokey thinking for a long time, not just in my life choices. I couldn't figure out which world I was going to live in. I couldn't decide if I was going to live in the physical or if I was going to live in the spirit. And I would think that I was living in the spirit until somebody would walk up to me and tell me they couldn't pay their rent. Or they'd walk up to me and tell me they had been diagnosed with cancer. And boy, guess what would happen? I was right back in the physical again. I got turned all around. So if you're doing the hokey pokey right now, this sounds so funny. If you're doing the hokey pokey right now, you got to give it up, don't you? We all do. Have to stand in that decision long enough to see it become manifest in form. That's the message. So I gave up the hokey pokey. And then all of a sudden I found myself doing another dance. I found myself doing the moonwalk. Okay? Now you may not know it, but the moonwalk is a rather difficult dance to do. Yeah, it is, isn't it? Okay, but Michael Jackson made it look really easy, didn't it? Okay, but the thing we want to recognize is that physically it may be difficult to do, but mentally and emotionally, it's something that many of us do without even thinking. It's something that many of us do at a subjective level, not even thinking that that's what we're doing. We're doing it subconsciously. Now, the official name for the moonwalk would be self-sabotage. Okay? You want to make changes in your life, but something always happens to stop you. I don't have enough time. I can't get there when I want to get there. Just as you thought you were getting ahead, something goes wrong. It's not my fault, but it always happens. I had a friend who called me, and she had been fired like about 7 different times in about maybe 3 years or so. I don't even remember the details, but she was repeatedly being fired. And it was always because of the people that she was working for. And so one day I asked her, I said, okay, let me just ask you one question. I hear what you're saying. I said, but can you see that there just might be a common denominator in all these experiences that you're moving through? She stopped and she thought. She said, do you mean me? Yeah. That's the only thing that's showing up in every single one of those experiences is you. So that self-sabotage, that's something that we can really do that to ourselves, not even recognizing that we're doing it. Something's holding me back. Something's always taking me back to square one. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's something that's holding us back. That's something that takes us back to square one every single time. Would have to be us, wouldn't it? That new career that we're just so jazzed about. I got a new career. I'm so excited about it. I'm just jumping into it. That great promotion that we've been waiting for. That health club that we're determined to join as soon as we get enough time to get there. Becoming the new me. See, and ultimately, what lies beneath all that is 2 concepts. One is that we're not worthy of the good that we're ready to experience, or that we say we're ready to experience. And the other is that our fear of change. It's basically we're saying, I know how to be the old me, but I'm not sure I know how to be the new me. See, and you know what's so interesting about this? That can fall in areas even with prosperity. I know how to be in lack. I don't know how to prosper. We can self-sabotage ourselves in that area. It can be in the area of health. I know how to be sick. What does a person do who's well all the time? See? I want to have great friends in my world. You ever watch somebody who says they're lonely because they don't have any friends? And if you watch them, you can actually watch them alienate themselves from people. Get all gung-ho over this situation, and something within you at a subjective level just shuts it down. Relationships, that's a big one in self-sabotage. I was watching this one person that the greatest thing to this person was to have this wonderful relationship, the right and perfect person in her life. And she called me one day. She said, every time I find this person, or this person shows up, different people, she says, I seem to just, something happens. I just kind of start picking them apart. I start doing things that make them not want to be in my life. She said, and I see myself doing it, and I can't stop. It's fear. It's that fear of abandonment. Sometimes we're so afraid that somebody's going to leave us that we do it for them. Okay, we create the situation for them. Fear that we don't deserve something so good. So I still have to consciously stop doing the moonwalk because it is such a subconscious thing in us. Look at your life right now and see, where is it? Where am I creating this dance in my world? I find myself right up on what I want and shut it down. I hit my high C, and I just slide back down to the low C. See, that's the law of octaves, isn't it? I mean, where we hit that high C, we want to be able to take the next note. We want to go to the next place, and yet we've been just going up to that high C and sliding right back down, going up to that high C and sliding right back down. That's self-sabotage. That's the moonwalk, folks. That's exactly what it is. So this is one that we have to consciously stop doing.